connect with the Chaitanya Charitamrita because we are, after all, very much connected with the Harinam Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As a matter of fact, Srila Prabhupada one time he explained that the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is the, we could say, modern manifestation or continuation of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. In other words, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya were not only performed 500 years ago, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya continue today. And anyone who comes in contact, like all of us, by Prabhupada's mercy, with the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, we become, we could say by default, or automatically, we become part of that very rare and unique mission. We tend to forget, even as devotees, because it's the material world, Kali Yuga especially, the tendency, forgetfulness is very high. We tend to forget how rare and unique this period in history, the appearance of Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago, happens as rarely as the appearance of Krishna. Krishna appears once in the day of Lord Brahma, as we know, which is a very long time. And immediately or soon after the appearance of Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya appears in the Kali Yuga, as he did 500 years ago. The age of Kali being the most fallen, Lord Chaitanya has come to give very easily the method or the process by which we can become liberated from the miserable conditions of the material world. So we'll just read a few verses here, and I'm just choosing this at random. Prabhupada used to explain how the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's the same for Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is like sugar cane, whether you bite at the beginning, at the end, or in the middle, it's all sweet. So all of these different pastimes are meant to connect us and try to appreciate and remember. Smritam Shatabidam Rajam, very important instruction given by Narada Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, whereby he nicely explains those who are devotees, their primary duty and responsibility is every day to try and remember. Smriti. Smriti means to remember who we are, what is our business in the material world, and to strive to advance basically in Krishna consciousness. So those of you who have access, CC, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila 1:1. Yasya prasadad agnopi sadya sarvagnatam vrajet sa Sri Chaitanya Devo me Bhagavan samprasidatu. Translation: even a person with no knowledge can immediately acquire all knowledge simply by the benediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This should be very inspiring for all of us, because in Kali Yuga we're all Sumanda, Manda Sumanda Matayo, very fallen and always forgetful. Therefore, I am praying rather, to the Lord for His causeless mercy upon me. This is the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who was very, very elderly at the time. Okay. You mean every time this is not continuous?
No, we have to shift like this.
Shift like this? Okay, got it. Right. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahoditao Gaudodaye Pushpavantao Chitrao Sannadao Tamonudao I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Okay. 3. Jayatam Sarata Pangor Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasya Padam Bhojao Radha Madana Mohanao. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Madana Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and their lotus feet are everything to me. 4. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumadha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastao Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Deva Pristhalidhi Sevyamanau Smarami. In a temple of jewels in Vrindavan, underneath the desire tree, Sri Sri Radha Govinda, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances unto them. Sriman Rasa Rasamrambhi Vamshi Bata Tatastitaha Karsan Venu Svanayara Gopir Gopinata Sriyestunaha. May Gopinata Ji, who attracts all the gopis with the song of his flute, and who has begun the most melodious rasa dance on the bank of the Jamuna in Vamshivata, be merciful unto us. Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Jaya Kripa Sindhu Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Jaya Kripa Sindhu Jaya Jaya Sachi Sutta Jaya Dina Bandhu Jaya Jaya Sachi Sutta Jaya Dina Bandhu. All glories unto Sri Gaurahari, who is an ocean of mercy. All glories unto you, the son of Sachidevi, for you are the only friend of all fallen souls. Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra
Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra
Jaya Srivasadi Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Srivasadi Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
All glories unto Lord Nityananda and Advaita Prabhu, and all glories unto all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, headed by Srivas Thakur. Text number 8. Purve kahilon adililad sutra gana yaha vistari yachena dasa vrindavana. I have previously described in synopsis the Adilila, initial pastimes, which have already been fully described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Text number 9. Ataiva Tara Ami Sutramatra Kailun Ye Kichu Vishesha Sutra Madhye Kahilun. I have therefore given only a synopsis of those incidents, and whatever specifics were to be related have already been given in that synopsis. Can you go ahead and see where there is a purport, if there is a purport in any one of these? Okay, we'll just read one or two more and then speak a little bit. Ebe kahe shesha lilara mukya sutra gana.
Ebe kahi shesha lilara mukya sutra gana.
Prabhura ashesha lila nayaya varnana.
Prabhura shesha lila nayaya varnana.
To describe the unlimited pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not possible. But I now wish to relate the chief incidents and give a synopsis of those pastimes occurring at the end. Have you found one? Huh?
Just text translation.
You know, if you look ahead.
Okay.
That's it is. Okay, no problem. So, as we can see in this introduction to the Madhya Lila, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, I think most devotees know, are divided into what is called the early or beginning pastimes up until the age of 24, means the Grihastha pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, which took place, of course, in Srila Mayapur, Navadvip. Then after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, at the age of 24, from 24 to 30, that means for 6 years, this is the description of Madhya Lila. And so many things happen. This is what the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, will begin to narrate. It is during this period that Lord Chaitanya toured South India. It is during this period that Lord Chaitanya finally had the opportunity to go to Vrindavan. because when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, his primary meditation, his primary goal was to actually, he was actually running. He was actually running to Vrindavan. But devotees like Nityananda Prabhu and others, it is nicely explained, they because in India, shaving one's head, shaving one's hair, and taking sannyas is like a very big, major, once in a lifetime kind of decision. So when Lord Chaitanya made that decision and left home, it was a very, very emotionally charged pastime, and his only thought and meditation at that time was to go to Vrindavan. And then he was directed, as we know, to Shantipur. Anyone has been to Shantipur? Well, who's been to India here? Anyone been to India? Yeah. Shantipur? No. You've been to Shantipur? Yeah. What is the meaning of Shantipur? The Pura that is full of Shanti. Shantipura. Shanti, because only Brahmanas live there. That was the residence of Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya was the head of the Shantipur Brahmana community. And of course, he knew about Lord Chaitanya, and he had arranged that Nityananda Prabhu somehow by trick bring him to Shantipur, where Lord Chaitanya stayed for quite a few days, and all the devotees from Navadvip, they came, and they had a big festival, kirtan. Festival for devotees means kirtan, chanting, dancing. It is said that Advaita Acharya was so happy. In the evening, that's when they would be having their kirtans. He danced, and he was very elderly. I mean, when Lord Chaitanya was born, I think Advaita Acharya was already 60. So he was in his 80s or more. And he danced for 3 hours non-stop. He was so happy. That's generally the mood and mentality in our Vaishnava Sampradaya. Householders, if some sannyasi, some sadhu can come to their home, then they become very happy. When Lord Chaitanya was in Jagannath Puri, he was booked every day to take prasadam at some householder's house. And the big devotees, we say big devotees, they booked him 2 or 3 or 4 times. So that was the beginning actually of what we call the Madhya Lila, and in the Madhya Lila, many wonderful pastimes have taken place. Largely, it was preaching, and this is something maybe that all of us can take away from this particular, let's say, reading, short reading that we're doing. Wherever Lord Chaitanya would go, he would go from village to village, basically. Every town and village. So he would, we cannot, I mean, we see pictures of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was very tall, and when he raised his hands, he was even taller, because he had long arms. It's a sign of a very advanced, elevated personality. You have long arms, going down to the knees. So when he would raise his hands, I don't know, he must have reached about 8 feet high or something. And he was a young man, 24 years. Very attractive, very learned, and always in total ecstasy. So wherever he went, news spread very quickly. Hundreds, if not thousands of people, they would come. And it is nicely described how he would perform chanting and dancing. Mainly, that was the main process. And then he would give some small instruction to the people that you don't really have. You can just, wherever you are, you can just take up to the process of chanting the holy name. And whoever you meet, you humbly request them. Shono Shono Nityananda, Shono Haridas, Sarvatra Amaragya. Agya means this is my order. My order, but in a very humble way, my humble request. Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shikha. This was spoken by Lord Chaitanya to addressing the first, we could say, two devotees, Haridas Thakur and Nityananda. They went together, door to door. So Lord Chaitanya, when he would go to different villages, he would tell people, now I'm leaving, but you kindly take up to this chanting and you go to the next village. So that's how, as Lord Chaitanya went from village to village, people who came in contact and took up to the chanting of the holy name and to the instructions given by Lord Chaitanya, they went to other villages. So Prabhupada explains that actually this is the process and the method by which to introduce this mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Sankirtan mission, which is the process by which, especially in Kali Yuga, people can become introduced to the chanting of the holy name, to the Vedic knowledge, and in this way learn to make our lives successful. So Lord Chaitanya, for 6 years, largely he traveled to different places, and then he settled for the remaining, how many years? The later pastimes of Lord Chaitanya took place, that is called the Antya Lila, from the age of 30 to 48, means 18 years. For the last 18 years, Lord Chaitanya never left Jagannath Puri. Devotees would come, of course, from Navadvip. It is nicely explained how every year, for 20 consecutive years, hundreds of devotees would come walking, not by car, there were no cars at that time, nor by train, what to speak of airplane. They would be walking, would take 1 month, and they would stay for 2 months. That is the opulence when you live in village, living off the land. You can have long holidays. How many holidays you get?
Only 14 days.
14 days, a year. How many holidays, how many days? Huh? Same, right? So 14 days, compare that to 4 months. Huh? The devotees were away from Navadvip for 4 months. They took 1 month to walk there, they stayed 2 months, and then they came back another month. That's 4 months. So, Prabhupada explains how there are so many advantages. Actually, all advantages are there when we follow the good instructions given by Lord Chaitanya and his various representatives. And we're in the middle of, we're just beginning actually, our short tour here in Malaysia, visiting a few temples and presenting a main theme. Some of you might have attended. Main theme, which is make Vrindavan villages. So 500 years ago in India, and I would think also in Malaysia, there were people living here 500 years ago also, right? People were, the lifestyle was very different. Majority people were living in villages, and the whole of Malaysia was covered with sandalwood trees. Malaysia was famous, and now it's becoming famous for something else. Yeah. People would, I don't know how many people would come, but they would export, they would export this sandalwood, which the story is actually in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhavendra Puri, who was deputed to go all the way from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri actually to get some sandalwood to bring back, isn't it? Yeah, that's a whole dealer pastime. So, evening programs are nice, but should not be too late. So, we can maybe give opportunity for devotees if you have any questions, either on a few lines that we read or on something else that you might like to hear about. How many devotee families living around here?
Around here is very less.
Very less.
Everybody is in the middle of the town.
Yeah. Your place is like hidden. If you don't answer to the right questions, you can't come in. Yeah. High security.
Any Prabhupada pastimes?
You read how many have read the Prabhupada Lilamrita? If you want to hear about Prabhupada pastimes, you read the Lilamrita especially. Lilamrita should be read by all devotees to know more about our founder Acharya, what he has done, and what he continues to do as well, and how all of us in different ways are meant to be, have the opportunity. It's according to our desire, we could say. We all of us have opportunity to be instrumental in some way or other in being part of the mission of life that Prabhupada has so nicely introduced. You're all very fortunate because Prabhupada came to Malaysia how many times? A few times, no? He went to... Just one time, huh? Okay, he went to a few places in Malaysia. Ipoh and a few other. Penang. Yeah. So there must be some. Prabhupada went to Indonesia just also once in Jakarta. Of course, I wasn't there at that time, but I think 72 or 73, like that. Wherever Srila Prabhupada went, of course, that place, that particular place, and for that matter, the whole country became blessed because personalities like Srila Prabhupada, they are described as walking tirthas. Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, left Vrindavan, but actually did not really leave Vrindavan. He carried Vrindavan with him, and he introduced Vrindavan to all of us, actually. And in the early days, he brought. He was like personally, just like a tourist guide. You know, he was because devotees in those days, for the most part, had never been to India, so it was a whole big experience for them to come to India. So our movement, Krishna consciousness movement, is still a young movement, and there are many opportunities for all of us in so many ways to be helping Srila Prabhupada fulfill the mission that he has given. That is meant to be the primary, we could say, goal and objective of every devotee, to understand more and more clearly, more and more deeply, what is that mission of Srila Prabhupada. Because the whole world is in need of being connected actually with that mission. Yeah. Any other question? We don't have a very inquisitive group here. Okay.
Jai His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj ki.
Hare Krishna.